So Les.
Yeah, we're rolling.
I know, we're rolling. Our first ever reality TV.
I know. I mean, I'm like, I can't contain myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay in this chair.
You started it.
I did.
With reality radio.
Yeah.
It's all your fault.
We just it came in like a thought,
Yeah.
And I spit it out, and it kind of worked.
Yes, and it's been great fun. And so we thought, well, reality TV is pretty big, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And so we figured, well, let's just do both then at the same time.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah.
Well, Adele, I don't know what it is. It's like when we get in the same room and the camera's rolling, the IQ level just rises.
Genius or idiot? I'm not
Whatever.
sure. Yeah, we'll see what our viewers say. So, anybody out there in Radio Land, we still value you as our radio listeners.
Yeah.
And then those of you who check out YouTube, we have a Frontline Records YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And these programs will be on there, and we would really welcome comments.
Oh.
On YouTube, people can do that. And,
Yes,
and we would like that.
And if you just strictly like radio, then and you happen to be on YouTube, just close your eyes.
Right.
Good
idea.
You don't have to look.
Right. So this is our episode numero uno with Frontline Records Rewind reality TV with Les Carlson, our new host.
Hello.
Fairly new host. It was really Brian Healy's fault that the whole thing got started.
Yeah.
With Frontline Records Rewind. He really came to me with this idea of radio because in addition to being the founder and lead singer of Dead Artist Syndrome, he was also an award-winning radio DJ.
Wow.
He has the voice for it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. Yeah.
FM.
Boomy. Oh, yeah. And so that's how this whole thing started. And so he said he would do that. He would host. And I said, okay, I'll be executive producer. And then he put a microphone in front of me when we had our very first session.
Oh, so then you had to step right up.
Yes.
And be executive producer and lead actress and,
some co-host gig.
Co-host, coordinator.
It was scary. And then due to illness, last fall, he wasn't available to host with us anymore. But
is he okay now?
He's doing better. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, he's doing much better. Brian Healy, shout out to you.
Yeah, Brian.
Yes.
But now we have this dynamic.
Yeah.
And what could be worse than two blondes?
Well,
sorry if I offended anybody.
Right. Well, that's why we're going to have a guest in on our very first show. Kind of break this up a little bit.
And he's a brunette, I hope.
Yes. So Les, tell the listeners who we've got today.
Well, today we have the very renowned Jimmy P. Brown from Deliverance.
Yes.
And we're excited.
And today we're going to cover, Deliverance has a wonderful history on Frontline Records.
They do.
And Jimmy has new things he's doing, and we're going to talk about that too. And in fact, we're going to be here for a while in your living room. So we're going to have two parts to this show.
Okay.
All right?
Cool.
Yeah. So people will get a lot of Deliverance music and catch up with Jimmy Brown on what he's been doing. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, ready? 1, 2. Okay, on
2,
4.
3, 4. One more time. I do it. 1, 2, 3. It's been 24 years.
I know. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now this is great. It's a live rehearsal. It's beautiful.
You didn't tell me I had to do this.
He's telling you now.
Memory, man. I put a photo memory.
How does it play again?
He goes.
It's been 24 years,
My
man.
glasses, too.
Your glasses are
I
up
my
on your
glasses
head.
back then.
Maybe when you throw your head back.
Is it F? you messed that up, didn't you? You got to do the harmonies with me, though.
I'm trying.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. One of my Bowie moves right there. Leads me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. I think I was supposed to go high there, right? In the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. You are with me. Wait a minute, is it D, E minor, D, C? So let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. You are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. Wait a minute, it goes. So it's a. I remember you wrote this part too.
I know.
Dun dun. Okay, so we go.
Yeah, I like it. I love this. It's like the backstage pass.
That's it.
Woo! The whole world.
And your harmony is.
Check it out. This is how it happens.
I was doing it right, didn't I?
This is how you build this stuff.
1, 2, 3, 4. You are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. You are with me, oh Lord.
Nice.
Solo, dude. Oh, come on.
George, come on. Play solo. We can't hear you. Nice.
Harmony. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You still do it wrong. To prepare a table.
After all these years.
Enemies. Remember? Enemies. Let's try it again. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Still wrong. You anoint my head with oil, my cup's running over. Surely goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Do you do your Rob Halford? Now that's where we need less, because I can't do that.
Okay, so I'll hit the other.
So here we go. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You are with me. Yeah, your rod and staff, they comfort me. You are with me. Then it's, yeah, remember? One more time. You are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. You are with me, Lord Jesus.
Woo!
Yeah.
Man,
That was fun.
that's great, man.
You want to do your solo?
Oh, yeah. No, we're good.
So George, let me clarify here. So you made the same mistake that you made 24 years ago.
That Harvard.
Live and direct on my couch. Fired up.
Yeah, that enemies. That's it.
It's just a mistake.
Enemies.
That's why they put erasers on pencils, folks.
Yeah, there you go.
You know,
Live.
that was great. That's fun, guys.
Yeah,
You guys
that
are
was,
great.
that's the first time we've jammed since the Jupiter 6 show in 2011
Oh, yeah,
or 2010.
Yeah, that,
Dell, you were there when we did that Jupiter 6 concert.
I still remember this song and when we were writing it, and this is where it really God, I think, took over almost this song, because obviously it's scripture. So number one, it's awesome. It's straight from the mouth of God. Number two, I'll never forget how easy it was for us to put those words to music. I mean, Jimmy and I pretty much came up with that really quickly, and it was just like it
was
flowed.
real fast. Yeah.
I remember it flowed really well. Like, wow, this is great. And I know all of us in this room and whoever's ever watching, a lot of songs you really labor over them and you re-record them and you redo them and this and that.
Flowing.
But that, I remember, was probably one of the easiest songs ever written, for me at least,
Yeah,
and probably
it
for
was.
Jimmy too, because it was just something that just happened easily. And I guess I can only attribute that to God.
All right. This show is brought to you by Frontline Records.
Yes, and all of the music
Yes.
by all of the Frontline Records artists
Yes.
can be found on frontlinerecords.us.
Frontlinerecords.us? Wow. Go for it. Yes. So here we are, and now we're sterile because we brought it down to nothing. But this is the first video show. You're here.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been wanting to say to you, you got a great voice.
Oh, thanks.
I've been listening and I'm like, wow. But
like the old stuff?
everything.
Oh, that's horrible. But thank you, though.
I like
Coming
it.
from you, man,
I
that's
like
like
it.
ridiculous because you're like amazing, dude.
I like it. And as I listened, I was going, okay, now I know that he's listened to Jeff Tate before.
Yeah, Tate was a big guy.
And
sure.
okay.
Bruce
so that-
Dickinson, yeah.
But Tate, you know, he's a great singer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but him and I took lessons from Maestro David Kyle
No, I did not know
in
that.
Seattle. So
That's
I would
cool.
come over to Alki Beach, and I'd walk into Maestro's house, and Jeff would be walking out.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
he'd
cool.
go, hey, Les, and hey, Jeff, what's up? And Maestro Kyle, I think Jeff makes reference to him
Wow.
because he was the guy that really took our voices and tied it all together from the low to the top without the break. Showed us how to be rockers, smoky clubs, sing all night, and not lose your voice on the road.
Wow.
And it's because of Maestro Kyle that Jeff can go out and tour night after night after night and not lose his voice, because he was the man that showed us how to do it with the calisthenics of the voice.
So that's what messed me up because I never took any formal vocal training. So that's why we do 2 nights in a row, and I would be tore up for a week.
But
Remember?
Don't underestimate yourself. No,
But yeah. But the thing is that really it's just like calisthenics. That's all
Yeah.
it is. And
Well, that's cool.
but
Thank you, Les.
have
That means
a
a lot.
really great voice.
That means a lot coming from you, dude.
And then you now help me with this. Is it David
Yeah.
Bowie or Bowie?
Bowie.
Bowie.
It's actually, well, I guess
Is
if
it
you were
Bowie?
England, they call him Bowie, but
It's Bowie.
Bowie, but it is
David Bowie.
We know him as Bowie here in the
Yeah.
States. You know?
But you like him too, and he's like one of my
Huge, giant-
favorite guys. So,
Giant influence ever since I was a little kid. You know?
Yeah.
In fact, the hilarious story about how I discovered Bowie is my brother, who's 9 years my senior, was a huge fan. In 1977, the Heroes Tour was coming to LA,
Yeah.
and he had tickets. And my parents all of a sudden decided they were going to leave for Vegas, and he was babysitting me that weekend. And my sisters had plans and everything else, so they left, and he was freaking out and had to go get a bootleg ticket, or not, what did they call it? Not bootleg, but what about scalping? He had
Scalping.
he had to go scalp a ticket out in front of the Forum, and he took me in to go see the Bowie show, and he said, do not tell Dad, because Dad doesn't like that guy because he's a homosexual.
Don't tell Dad.
So,
Don't tell Mom.
Now, I'm 7 years old, and I'm getting to see Bowie. And that's kind of what started it all for me. And if you remember our first tour, remember that's all I played the entire tour?
I think so. I have a funny story.
I mean, the guy is so theatrical. Yeah, what?
Oh, he's huge.
Oh no! Well, it's funny because, Jimmy and I, when we started working together, he always had that Bowie influence.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I kind of tried to get it out of him.
You're sounding too much like Bowie.
Because Bowie's not metal. And we were doing kind of metal stuff, and I think on the Weapons album, that's what we're here for. I think he's trying to do the Bowie stuff.
That's the way he always describes Bowie.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? It doesn't sound like that.
Yes.
But I did do that on that. What's it go? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And you're like, dude, don't do that Bowie stuff.
So we kind of we were just guitar player, singer relationship. I was also producing the record. We were co-producing.
Yeah.
So I'm here coaching him through his
So he
vocals.
had
You know,
some
you
input.
just gave me that credit to be nice.
Oh, yeah,
That
right.
You produced that
Hey,
album.
Deliverance has always been Jimmy Brown's band. So anyway, but
That's
so
what.
anyway,
That's what I got.
what's hilarious out of that though, as soon as I left the band, he went right back to.
Well,
You're right.
No more Georgia. I can to bug me about the Bowie. Now I'll do all the Bowie stuff I want.
The funny thing is, George knew every Bowie song when we
I
were
love
playing.
Bowie,
You
but
love
it just
it?
wasn't metal.
It's not metal.
It wasn't metal.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all.
You
When
were
we-
Super Joe Metal, though. When you got into
Still
Deliverance,
am.
I know, but you were like ultra Joe Metal.
This is great. It's on video. What's still in? I love that.
But see, I was the guy listening to Depeche Mode and David Bowie and all sorts of crap. Everybody hated when it was my turn at the in the front seat when we were on tour because it was all the stuff nobody wanted to hear.
The music.
Controlling the music. There you go. You guys know how that goes. If somebody's controlling the music,
Oh my God.
Jimmy's up there.
You never knew what you were going to get with me.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I remember. Well, the main thing was I think the music is one thing, but how Jimmy put pretty much that was all Jimmy. I put the phrasing and it was awesome. I mean,
Well, it happened so right.
Yeah.
Actually, that entire record. I mean, me and George just we went in there. We just
talking
recorded.
about the title of that record.
Yeah, the weapons of our warfare.
Yeah.
That there was something really, really huge and special about the way that went down because, George had come into the band right when we were finishing recording the first album, and he couldn't be on it because Glenn had already played his parts, and but he took off, and then George did the Victory tour with us, and then when we came home and we started working on the Weapons album. We were doing all the pre-production in this tiny little closet that George called his studio. And it literally was a closet in Hollywood, remember, on Gower? And we were then there with this 4-track and a sampler keyboard, and we're doing all this crazy recording of stuff. But it's just each song I would come up with, and then you would go, oh, okay, let's try for the bridge part, and then, oh, we got to come turn around.
Yeah.
And then I was like, let's throw in that stupid overhand thing.
No, show that lick. That's one of the coolest licks ever.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's doing 2 bar chords. You're doing 2 bar chords, but at once. Yeah, and
that's amazing.
What song is that on?
That's Weapons.
That's the title track, Weapons of Our Warfare. That we did the video for. That was on Headbangers Ball and all that good stuff.
And we're just going. I mean, every song just kept flowing. And then my favorite one that you and I worked on was Flesh and Blood.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, it was like number one, our first song that we ever did that was like 7 minutes long. But it just had every element that. And then that was your part.
George, good George, good move.
And then I did that. And then we broke into that.
I wrote that.
No, you wrote this one. And I put that in there.
What a memory. Remember better than I do. You know what a lot of things was,
oh my gosh.
What's cool about that record is
I love it.
a lot of songs were big time co-writes on,
Oh, the whole, yeah. The only 2 that weren't was Greetings of Death and Bought by Blood.
So let me ask you guys
and
a
Bought
question.
by Blood was hilarious because the kick drum was
go ahead.
just single, and then you ended up putting and George ended up putting a delay on the kick drum, so it was all. And it's like perfect. It's like so perfect, and our drummer gets it.
It made Chris Hyde sound amazing. Even though Chris Hyde is a great drummer, and he was a lot of fun to be in the band with.
Yeah,
for a while.
but you even made him greater with this.
Oh yeah,
I even made him.
You made him greater with
that production technique.
With hot tongue, you'll be run off straight.
these things flowed pretty well from this album.
It was brilliant.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay, so where were you spiritually at that point? I mean,
we had just come off of tour, and I'll be honest with you, man, that tour, I think, woke us all up because it was our first tour. I think yours first tour, my first tour. We'd never been away from home for that long, and man, just meeting people all over the country that are telling you how blessed they are and what a blessing you are. And I'll tell you what, there were moments when George, because George and I did most of the nightly ministering, and I would speak from the stage, and George would speak from the stage. And George just had a very authoritative manner in which he spoke. When I spoke, I'm very emotional and I guess it was my Pentecostal background, but I got that Jimmy Swaggart tearful, ready to, by the way, we need $1 million by the end of the night.
I wish you would have
You know what? I should have did that because otherwise it wouldn't have been the Pay You in Pizza tours.
Yeah.
But, I'll never forget when a promoter handed us a bag of candy, and I said, "What are we supposed to do? Melt this and put it in our gas tanks?" I mean, my gosh. Anyways,
one of many stories.
Oh,
from
yeah.
the new episodes.
yeah.
But
I guess I'm getting to something here with. I want to hear his answer.
we came home, and I think we were spiritually charged.
Yeah.
And I had been obsessed. I mean, completely obsessed with the Peretti books, This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness. And I told George, I came to him and I said, I want to do a concept record. Well, actually, you came to me with the idea of the concept album. I said, let's do this. Let's do Weapons of Our Warfare. Actually, I wanted to call it This Present Darkness, and then we concentrated on the Corinthians verse, for the Weapons of Our Warfare. And it just... Like I said, it was me and George literally sitting together in a room, puzzle pieces. It was like I'd lay one down and he'd see the next one. And it just worked. It was magic. I mean, it really was a magical time. And I think the album did what it did brilliantly because it was the right place, the right time, and the spiritual element that was behind it. And Frank Peretti, I guess Dean Jones was trying to get financing to actually do turn it into a movie, and he wanted to use This Present Darkness to open the movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he never got the funding. So, and I was really bummed.
Well, it's never too late. People can always write.
Dean, if you're still alive, put the record, put the movie out.
But
Adele will finance it.
Adele will finance it, and she'll make sure we get paid through ASCAP. Oh, and BMI, Carlotta. Even though you're not really Carlotta.
But here's the thing about what you guys do, is that all the stuff that you do is current because when you're speaking about the Word of God, it never goes away. It's the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all the lyrics that these Christian bands write, and we tell stories about from the Word of God, and we sing from the Word of God, it never gets old. It's always current because, God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now, I mean, as opposed to girls, you can go, well, that was those guys and then and blah blah blah, and it was this. And, but that mentality was then. Yeah. But the mentality of the Christian bands is what it is. It's going to be timeless, and it's proven to be that. Because I know your fans are still.
Because the word is timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless, and so when we're on the side of God, and so the things that we do artistically, and the way that it flows, and the way He flows through us. I find that the music, listening to you guys' music, I was going, this is cool, man, but that's not new stuff. Yeah. But it's cool, and it's timeless. Yeah. Thank you. And your fans are still saying we want more.
I believe it then. I believe it now. That basically it was an alternative to give kids the same style of music that they're used to hearing via Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, whatever. Testament. We're big Testament heads at the time. And now just putting on the Christian lyrics that gave the spiritual and the ultimate truth perspective. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to offer that to the secular world. And believe it or not, it worked. There's a lot of people that read these lyrics and kind of, whoa, these guys sound just like the bands we like, but their lyrics are
and they got saved.
Biblical based. And some people, of course, didn't like it, and some people thought we were probably jokes out of it, but that's okay. Jesus said, he's a rock of offense. We're always going to offend with the gospel. There's no question about that. It's not always going to be received. But for the people that God started to soften their heart and prepare them for it, believe me, there's plenty of people touched, and I only thank God for that and give him all the credit for that, because sure wasn't Jimmy and I sitting there in that little closet that you said, and going to Mixing Lab 1 and recording, the Weapons album and Mixing Lab 2. We never would have imagined that God would have used it to the extent that he did.
No, not at all.
Really, and look, in hindsight, 24 years later, wow. I mean, it ended up being something that was much bigger than us. And so Weapons was that's what it was. It was bigger than we thought. It turned out to be bigger than we thought. And we serve
Very special moment in time.
And we serve a big God, right?
And here it is. Flesh and Blood from Weapons. Flesh and Blood. You want to just give us a quick one?
It's one of my favorite cuts off the record. I think it kind of got largely ignored because it's a long one. Yeah, it's like 6.5 minutes.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a long song, but boy, there's some really cool. I'm really mostly the riffs are awesome. It was well performed. George solo is smoking during the clean part.
Do the hard riff on that song.
All right.
It's a tough riff, man.
What
And
that?
you never get that.
And then that. Yeah, that's a cool.
All right.
Those aren't easy. Those aren't easy riffs, man. Those
That's
are
right.
hard riffs to play, man.
So-
and Jimmy is the rhythm master. I will give him that. He's awesome. You know.
So here it is. Flesh and Blood by Deliverance.
seeking of reality is a fight to let you know about a man who gave his flesh and blood to save your health and soul.
Les, where
Yes.
can people find all of this fabulous music by Frontline Records artists?
This show is brought to you by Frontline Records. Used to say records and tapes, but just Frontline Records will work. And where do they find that?
FrontlineRecords.us.
Wow. That's where I'm going.
Okay, and then this fantastic story about you had a haircut at something somebody gave you. You were getting a haircut at some school fair or something.
Oh, the Metallica story.
Come on.
Oh man, that's so. Dude,
that's a great story.
That's probably one of the weirdest stories. Gosh, I'll try to kind of.
Crossed paths, right?
It was 1985. Deliverance was getting ready to start. We hadn't even really started yet, but I had long hair and I was growing it. And we had a college and career day at Bellflower High School. This girl comes in, and I saw her, and she kind of looked cute or whatever. So I went over, played like I wanted a haircut, got the trim, got her number, ended up going to hang out with her, and she's telling me that her brother's in a band and all this other stuff. And the guy ends up pulling up, and he was a jerk to me, and he went in the house. She went and told him, hey, he's in a band, try to be nice to him, blah, blah, blah. He comes out, and he says hello to me. And it's none other than James Hetfield. And he gave me a copy of their first album. I even asked him, will you autograph it? You might be famous someday. And he laughed in my face. He wrote to Jimmy, James Hetfield, metal something. Or no, metal up your... Yeah. So...
Yeah.
I take it home.
That's what you do with metal.
Okay, and here's what I did. I take it home, I put it on, and the first songs, that hit the lights. And I say, this is garbage. This is the worst crap I've ever heard. I hated the album, bro.
It's like that amp.
I hated the album. No,
Remember?
Junk.
Yeah, it's junk.
Junk.
And I'm listening to it.
Good call, by the way.
My buddy Jimmy Griffin. You remember Jimmy Griffin?
Yeah, where's he?
Yeah. Jimmy Griffin comes over to visit me. He's a high school mate who ended up going on tour with us as a roadie.
That's right.
Jimmy Griffin comes in and goes, oh my God, you're listening to Metallica? This is so much better than that Striper crap you listen to. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, Striper, Queensryche, Styx, Iron Maiden, this blows this junk away. That guy can't sing. I go, and he's like, can I have it? I go, this is your lucky day. It's even autographed to Jimmy. And his name was Jimmy Griffin.
Yeah.
He took it, and that was the end of it. Well, Ride the Lightning came out, and I was a huge fan of it. So I asked Griffin, can I have my Kill 'Em All album back, bro? And he's like, no, dude, I've got it framed. It's mine. You called it crap. And to this day, I talked to him like two, maybe 3 months ago. He still has it.
And he's still not giving it back.
Oh, no.
He doesn't tell people he's not the Jimmy.
Oh, probably not.
Well, this is Jimmy P. Brown's, actually.
Yeah, but no, it's just too Jimmy. So yeah, that's how did you hear about that? That's an obscure story. Well, that's a real story.
I tried to do
a lot of crappy stories out there that that have been built and said, and maybe even I've spread, but that one is for sure true.
I tried to do some research.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing.
And we're just glad to be doing this. This is the first. It's a two-parter, right?
Really?
2 parts.
We got to do another part now?
Yeah. Now Les is all going to take it all back.
I'm out.
Now the next one's going to be the bitterness of what a joke.
Now I'm out of the spirit. I was in the spirit. I'm going to kill this guy. It's beautiful. No, but this has been awesome.
Well, we really wanted to thank George Ochoa for dropping in
Thanks,
today.
George. George was
Jimmy
a blast.
picked him up on the way. I know.
I was hitchhiking.
Yeah. And we're especially
good.
celebrating this 25th anniversary vinyl release of Weapons of Our Warfare that's coming out very soon. Roxx Productions is releasing that, so people can get a copy. And so it was great to reminisce about those times and have 2 of the original members and writers and really the ones who were inspired to put that together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thoroughly entertained, and I'm in the show.
Yeah.